So today, we're diving into René Descartes, but forget the dusty old textbook version. We're talking about a guy on a truly radical mission to literally tear down everything we thought we knew and rebuild it all from scratch on a foundation of pure, absolute certainty. And we're going to start right where he did, with a question that sounds simple, but it's really not. Seriously, think about it for a second, right now. What's one thing you know with 100% no way around it certainty? Something you absolutely cannot doubt. Yeah, it's way harder than it sounds, right? And that exact puzzle is what sent Descartes on his incredible philosophical quest. All right, so here's the game plan. First, we'll jump into Descartes' world, this incredible age of doubt he was living in. Then, we'll look at the two big paths that thinkers took to try and find some answers. After that, we'll break down Descartes' wild method for finding certainty, and you'll see well, let's call it the unexpected guarantee he landed on. And finally, we'll see why this whole 400-year-old journey still matters so much today. Okay, so to really get Descartes, you have to understand the world that made him. You got to put yourself in his shoes. It was a time of massive upheaval, and for a lot of smart people, it was deeply confusing. You see, for centuries, the old medieval systems of knowledge had held everything together. But now, they were falling apart. New science was emerging, old philosophy was failing, and it created what we now call an epistemological vacuum. It's like the official rulebook for what counts as truth had just been thrown out the window, and nobody knew what to replace it with. And look, this wasn't just some boring academic debate. It was a full-blown crisis. Skepticism was getting really popular, the idea that maybe we can't be certain about anything. And this created total paralysis. How could science or philosophy move forward if no one could even agree on a basic method for finding truth? The whole intellectual world felt like it was built on quicksand. So out of this chaos, two major competing ideas started to take shape, and they were perfectly captured by two intellectual heavyweights, the Frenchman René Descartes and his English rival Thomas Hobbes. Now, here's what's so fascinating. Both Descartes and Hobbes actually agreed on this one really important point, the representational theory of knowledge. Basically, they both believed we never see the worlds directly. All we have access to are the ideas or the representations in our own minds. But this shared idea creates a huge problem. It's like you're trapped in your own head looking at pictures of reality, but you can never ever peek outside to see if the pictures are accurate. And this is where they just went in completely opposite directions. For Hobbes, the empiricist, everything was just physical stuff. The mind, it's just matter. And that led him to believe we don't have free will, it's all determined, and that ethics is basically about pursuing your own self-interest. But Descartes, the rationalist, he was the total opposite. He argued the mind is an immaterial soul, completely separate from the physical body. And for him, that meant we do have free will, and our reason has to be in charge of our passions. See? It all traces back to their starting point. Hobbes began with observation, while Descartes began with pure reason. So how was Descartes planning to find these absolute truths using just reason? Well, his plan was insane and brilliant. Instead of running from doubt, he decided to weaponize it. He was going to doubt every single thing he could possibly imagine, until he found the one thing that was literally impossible to doubt. His inspiration was math. You know how in geometry class you start with axioms, things that are just obviously self-evidently true, and then you use perfect logic, step by step, to arrive at a conclusion that is 100% guaranteed? It's clean, it's certain. And Descartes wanted that exact same level of certainty for all of human knowledge. So he actually laid out his game plan in his Discourse on Method, and it has 4 key rules. First, don't accept anything as true unless you're absolutely sure it is. No fuzzy thinking. Second, take any problem and break it down into its smallest possible pieces. Third, build your argument back up, piece by piece in perfect logical order. And finally, number 4, be obsessive. Check and recheck every single step so you know you haven't missed a thing. Now, the absolute gold standard for him was what he called clear and distinct ideas. This was everything. An idea is clear if it's not vague, not fuzzy. It's distinct if it's not all jumbled up with other thoughts. He was looking for that pure, perfectly focused, undeniable idea in his mind. And the type of knowledge he was after is what philosophers call a priori knowledge. This is stuff you can know just by thinking about it, without any need for real-world experience. For example, you know that all triangles have three sides. You don't need to go out and measure a bunch of triangles to confirm that. It's true by definition. For a rationalist like Descartes, this was the only kind of knowledge you could truly trust. But this method of radical doubt, well, it took Descartes to a pretty terrifying place. After he demolished everything, he realized he'd kind of doubted himself into a corner, creating an even bigger, scarier problem. He came up with the ultimate skeptical nightmare. What if there's an evil demon, an all-powerful being, whose only goal is to deceive you about everything? If that's even a tiny possibility, how can you trust your own mind? How do you know that 2 plus 2 doesn't actually equal 5, and this demon is just tricking you into thinking it's 4? And this brings us to his famous and, to many, very controversial solution. After he finds his one foothold of certainty, the famous "I think, therefore I am," he still has to rebuild everything else. And he does it by arguing that he can trust his reason because a perfect, all-good God exists, and that kind of God would not be a deceiver. This becomes the absolute linchpin for his whole system, and it's a purely logical move, not a leap of faith. The logic goes like this. A good God exists. A good God wouldn't create beings with fundamentally broken tools for thinking. Therefore, my own reason, as long as I use it carefully following my rules, must be reliable. God, for Descartes, becomes the ultimate guarantee that knowledge is even possible. Now, I know this might all sound like some really abstract stuff from the 1600s, but what Descartes did actually created this massive fork in the road for how we think about knowledge, a split that we're still wrestling with right now. On one side, you have Descartes' approach, which we call foundationalism. The idea is that knowledge is like a pyramid, and it has to be built on a perfectly solid, undoubtable foundation. On the other side, you have the path of Hobbes and other empiricists, which is called evidentialism. This is less like a pyramid and more like a detective building a case. You don't look for absolute certainty, you just gather all the evidence you can and make your belief as strong as the evidence allows. You accept that, hey, most of what we know is just highly probable, not certain. Of course, Descartes has faced centuries of criticism, especially for that whole God part. But maybe the most memorable critique isn't some complex takedown. It's actually a really simple, practical observation about the man himself. The story goes that Descartes did all this intense skeptical thinking while he was holed up in a stove-heated room during a freezing winter. And critics just love to point out the obvious irony here. I mean, how can you genuinely doubt that you have a physical body while at the same time feeling the cold and knowing you need to put more wood on the stove to warm up your body? The radical doubt seems to stay purely in the world of theory. And that kind of leaves us with a big final question, doesn't it? Is this kind of radical doubt a powerful tool for finding the truth? Or is it really just an intellectual game that completely ignores the messy reality of just being a person in the world? Descartes' quest for certainty is amazing, but it also forces us to ask if perfect certainty is even possible, or if it's even a goal worth chasing in the first place.